Well, that's a very, very simple question to answer.
Take as much time as
Okay, we may as well start with Esvedra. Esvedra is a gigantic rock, magnetic rock on the south of the island. I'll wait till this finishes. Okay, Esvedra is a giant magnetic rock on the very south coast of the island. She sticks out like a sore thumb. It's like a giant's tooth coming out of the ocean, and she's full of organic ore, which has been attributed to being the magnetic force behind the attraction to the island for so many different people. The first people to discover Ibiza and Formentera were the Carthaginians in about 600 BC. And when they discovered it, they named it, they attributed their attraction to it and finding it to Esvedra, and it became like a holy grail for them. So they continued to come and use it as they were. Later on, the Romans then discovered it as an evolution from the Carthaginians, and they discovered it again, attributing discovery to Esvedra, attributing the magicalness, is that a word? Yeah, of the island to Esvedra and her magnetic powers. Esvedra is known as the third most magnetic place on the entire planet. So if you take away the North Pole and the Bermuda Triangle, then you've got Esvedra, which attracts so many people to it. When the Romans settled, they started using the Balearic Islands as a stop-off point when they were touring, when they were transferring goods from one part of the world to another. So it became a stop, it became like a halfway house in between different Mediterranean islands when they were crossing from Africa, bringing goods over here, from Italy to mainland Spain, and vice versa. People used to stop here, and there used to be a lot of issues with pirates, which is why we've got so many little pirate towers dotted around the island. There were so many hidden nooks and caves that they could hide in. It was very simple for them to ambush any armadas or any good ships that were here. From that point, people settled on the island, and then for many years it belonged to the payeses of the island, who were just farmers and fishermen. The families that they created lived here as very simple farmers and fishermen right the way up until the beginning of the 19th century, when we started to become more aware of ourselves, and even the progression from that, not the 19th century, the 20th century, the progression from that, the evolution of Ibiza has actually only been very recent. The clubbing industry in Ibiza boomed in the late 70s, early 80s, when it came around with the advent of mixing vinyl records. So at that point we had to have already been producing music on vinyl. We had to have gone past the live creation of music to have a consciousness about being able to record music and play it on some form of format, and that was a vinyl record. In Pasha, which is the longest standing club on the island, it's renowned for being the first place in the entire world, the first club to have 2 decks mixing tune after tune after tune. So it was the first place to come up with the concept of having an all-night party where the DJ would be responsible for putting one tune on and making sure that the next one followed it straight away. Before that, before we had a mixer, it was turning the record over, it was stopping the record. So that evolution was part of the island itself, and then in about 1984, that's when the Brits started to come. We started to realise what it is. The shoon parties started happening in the UK and emulated over here by putting big clubs on in space, in different venues on the island, in the aftermath of the 60s and 70s, where it was all about love, it was all about happiness. So we were still trying to recapture some essence of our past by recreating a different type of vibration on Ibiza, a different type of fiesta, because we know people come here, we want people to experience this party. And then the evolution from the mid-80s has brought us with all the different ways of types of musics that we've got, all the different types of people that have visited the island. As I say, there's over 100 nationalities that live here full time in the winter. So more than 100 nationalities visit the island throughout the summer. We have over 1 million people come through the airport in August alone. In August alone, yeah.
I heard there's like 4 million people in summer.
Yeah, give or take, it varies year on year, but the tourism on the island is still increasing. Still more and more people are visiting the island. But interestingly, last year, the actual club entries were down. It's one of the lowest ever. So the big clubs that are charging the big amounts of money for people to come and express themselves have got a lot of competition now with smaller start-up events. There's a lot more option for people to go and to come and see different parties across the island, but also see and find the island itself. More money is being spent on boat tours to actually get around the island and see what's going on. More families are coming here. There's more agroturismos, which is like a special high-class event space where we hold high-class events, all different types of events on the island, whether it's spiritual, whether it's fashion, whether it's musical events are being held in these venues, and people are coming to visit Ibiza for something different than the clubbing scene that it's been renowned for the past 20 years.
This is very off topic, but like just mentioned boat parties, like what part boat parties play in Ibiza?
I meant boat trips I mentioned, but boat parties have always played a big part in Ibiza. That was having a boat party job was my first experience of getting a job in Ibiza, just over here actually. I remember the meeting in a bar just around the corner. They're great boat parties. Ibiza, I'm pretty sure, was one of the first places in the world to offer a boat party where you can take. It was vinyl back in the day. They took vinyl out onto the boats, had the record players set up, and it was a different way to be able to have a party where you could take people off the island. You could make, in those days, as much noise as you wanted to because you couldn't be heard, and you were off the island. So you kind of had a little bit more freedom to do what you wanted to do. The boat parties would last for a little bit longer, maybe 3, 4, 5 hours, where everyone would be secluded, and by the end of the boat party, everyone would know each other. They'd have had a really great time, got up to all sorts of shenanigans, and because of that, that's an industry in itself, the boat parties. People come here for the boat parties now. We've got people like Pucker Up have been going for 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 years, and all they do is boat parties. And people know Pucker Up as a brand for the boat parties, and they come to Ibiza for the Pucker Up boat parties. So they play a very big role, but as time and as consciousness evolves, the boat parties are becoming less and less because people on the island can hear the music for a start, because they play it that loud. And there's nothing, whereas the music comes across the ocean, there's nothing for it to bounce off or to reflect off. So even if you go 2, 3 miles out, if your boat's facing Ibiza, your sound's going to get heard. So all these big Captain Nemo boats that we've got, or the big catamarans that we've got, have been utilised into a boat party genre, but they were originally glass bottom boats, where you could go and you could have a look at the bottom of the ocean as it was sailing. It's just an evolution. It's just a different change of using that type of medium for having a party.
But another thing about Pasha, I didn't know that this was the first place where they started DJing.
Yeah.
It's like a real fact. Like Ibiza was the first place in the world.
Yeah, Pasha, Ibiza. It's still the same place.
Could you please try to explain this as much as you can?
Well, yeah, I found about this about ages ago. The first person to mix on vinyl and to play one record to another was a DJ from the UK called Jimmy Savile. He's nothing to do with Pasha. Pasha, the nightclub, was the first nightclub that had an all-night party. So they had a record player. We were printing records onto vinyl records. We were printing music onto vinyl records at the time, which was a progression from the old 45 music that we used to play, the old gramophone, which were wind up. The progression of that came to where the needle on the gramophone sticks into the record and it presses on it very, very hard, and it ruins the record, and you only get so many plays out of the record before you can't play it anymore because you're just scratching it over and over and over again. The evolution of that is what I've got now, the Technic 1210s, where the needle balances very finely on the record and the needle sits in the groove, and inside the grooves of the records, tiny little zeros and ones, tiny little inflections and deflections, which is picked up by the groove and then sent through the amplifier to create the music and to portray the art that the people have put onto the vinyl. Now, when there was the recording onto vinyl, we've been recording on vinyl, this method of vinyl, since the 1930s. As technology, as our desires progressed up to the sort of the mid-70s, people were looking for parties. People were looking for an all-night party, but something else came along where certain DJs understood that rather than just having a band playing for 2 or 3 hours a night and then everyone sits down, or we want some more music, and the best way to express music is to be able to play music, is to be able to play vinyl, where they can have a massive collection of vinyl and have, for example, 45 different bands playing. So instead of having one live band, you've got all this ammunition of all these people to be able to play. And someone at some point made up a device that you can put play one record, the music goes through the device, and as that one finishes, you've got another record player, and the music comes through the middle device, which is a mixer. It's got a crossfader on it, which basically was being able to switch from one record turntable to the other. And that's all it was, very, very basic, very limited. But it gave the DJ at the time the ability to create a night of complete music all the way through without having to pay bands, without having to have all the excess stress of getting bands involved, or the extra expense of getting bands and live performances involved. There's still a massive element of live performances on the island now, and live music will never ever be bettered. But recording live music onto vinyl at the time we were doing replicates the sound so well that it's almost like having a band or the artist or the singer in the room with you.
That kills live music.
Well, it's not killed live music, because there are still live music artists out there. There's still many venues here where people pay money to go and see the live artists, to see the singers. I've got a lot of friends that are musicians and singers, keyboard players, drummers, orchestras that are very, very prevalent on the island. I've got a lot of friends that play more original music as well, like didgeridoos, like harps, like santoors, all lots of instruments that they've brought from their world travels here to play in Ibiza. So I don't think digital music or vinyl music has killed live music at all. It's given us a different way to be able to experience any type of music. It's enhanced music, in fact, because if you consider the fact that if you had a band playing for one night, or you maybe wanted to go to an event and there was an event on if you look at a gig now, you might go to a big gig in a stadium where you've got one headline act and you've got 2 bands playing before them, and that's your 5 or 6 hours. Yeah. So every band will do a 2-hour set. You've only got 3 bands. No matter how many people you can get in, no matter how many people want to do it, you're only going to hear 3 different bands' performances. With digital media and with vinyl media, you can have as many bands or artist performances as you want. It all depends on the catalogue of the DJ and what they bring with them. In my sets, I can play as a vinyl DJ. If I'm playing a 2 or 3 hour set, I'll play 60 records, and I'll never play the same record, or never play the same record twice, or never play a record by the same artist twice. So there's at least 60 different artists getting in there, which people are listening to, which again gives them an opening of the consciousness. It allows them to listen to something different. It allows their mind to capture something and to hear some different vibrations, hear some different sounds, which our bodies and our souls and our minds and our spirits all connect with, and then gives us an idea to go and search on that in the future. If you like something you hear, because someone's playing it on a vinyl disc, then you can go and speak to the DJ and ask who it is, and immediately get information on it. Just like you can go to a nightclub now and you can Shazam a tune that's being played through a CD. It's a completely different kettle of fish, and no, not at all. Vinyl music hasn't killed live.
Very good, mate.
Thanks.
events, maybe like that you've been involved in, like a happening. That just for you, this is like.
And my own personal story. Good question. I've had that many experiences here. I've got that many different projects going on that it's kind of everything. When I'm here, I've always had the most inspiration in my entire life. Ibiza inspires me to have ideas, to be creative, to do things. And the thing that's given me the most joy and given the most people the most joy at the moment from my own creation is the Ibiza Vinyl Club, which I set up as a gesture of my love and my gratitude for the island for giving me what I always wanted to do, which was just to come over here and play vinyl music. When I first arrived on the island, 2001, 2002, it was right at the end of the vinyl playing age. It was just on the cusp of the CD revolution when DJs were starting to use CDs instead as a convenience tool. When I came here, I'd started clubbing in the UK. I'd just learned to start DJing on vinyl as well. And the DJs that I was listening to and watching and knowing the history of vinyl DJing in Ibiza right up until that point made me want to come over here and play vinyl music. And that was kind of a little selfish wish that I always had. Even though I came here on the pretense of doing it for other people, selfless, other people involved for a change of habitat and a change of life. The Ibiza Vinyl Club was established to open up a space for vinyl DJs and vinyl lovers to get together. We host vinyl only DJs. It's a roaming record shop, so it's like a pop-up event. We've done it in 20 different event spaces across the island, and at each event we take nearly 700 records for people to engage with, for people to listen to, for people to trade or people to buy, and it's a completely different style of event that's on the island. And it's given me so much pleasure, so much beauty and creativity and so much opportunity from that to find myself, to understand more about the world, about vibrations created by vinyl music in the past, the way we used to create music, capturing the vibrations analog through a tape, and now comparing it to how we make vibrations and music now on a computer, in a studio a lot of the time. Understanding vinyl and wanting to play vinyl over here, for me, is the biggest story in my life, because it's given me so many opportunities. It's enhanced my mind, enhanced my life so much. I've got to play with some of my heroes. I've played in some of my favourite establishments. My first year here as a vinyl DJ, I got to play in Cafe Del Mar. I know, and all I did was walk in and ask them, I've got a brand, Ibiza Vinyl Club, I play vinyl, my mates play vinyl, can I come and host a night? And they went, yeah. This type of shit doesn't happen in Manchester, it doesn't happen in the UK, it only happens in Ibiza, well, in my eyes, in my experience. These are the type of gifts which is, for me, vinyl related gifts enable me to have such a beautiful, fortunate life over here. And not only that, but I open up a space with the Vinyl Club for anybody else to come and express themselves by playing their own vinyl as well. We don't have any policies when it comes to musical taste. Anyone can play music. If you've got vinyl, you're welcome to come and play. We host open decks. So my fortune and my own gratitude for being able to just play vinyl over here and express myself with my music, I've opened up the space for anybody else to come and do the same. And now we have people visiting us from all over the world. We've had people, DJs coming from Belgium, from Holland, from the UK, people flying from America with vinyl, wanting to come and play vinyl at the Vinyl Club, knowing and having each vinyl DJ that has their own association with vinyl and their own experience with Ibiza, have their own connections and their own love attachments to it. And to be able to now bring your vinyl to Ibiza and play it in Ibiza is a dream come true to most people. It was a dream come true to me as a vinyl DJ and a vinyl collector and an Ibiza lover. And I know there are vinyl collectors and vinyl DJs and Ibiza lovers that feel exactly the same, which is why the club's been so well regarded and so successful in its first couple of years, because people see the value in it and they want the experience. So we connect. It gives an elevated state of connectivity for a party as well. So we come together because of the love of the music, because of the vibrations that it creates, because of the vinyl. It's not because we want to go out and get smashed. It's not because we want to go for a dance. It's because we want to go and connect with other vinyl addicts about vinyl music.
Cafe Del Mar tell us a bit about like how it came about, what it is.
Cafe Del Mar. Okay, so that's once again has been around for many years. It's one of the most famous venues on the island. It's on Sunset Strip, and they were also hosting live music. It was known as a sunset venue. It's still known as a sunset venue. During the summer, you get beautiful sunsets from that particular place. And it's been renovated in the past couple of years. But before it was renovated, it was just about having beautiful voices, beautiful audio vibrations to the sunset. So you'd have people playing cello, you'd have people playing piano as the sun goes down, creating a really beautiful, unique vibe. And this continued and evolved itself. They then established their own record label brand. So Cafe Del Mar Records was one of the first record labels on the island to start printing records, vinyl records, which is why it's always been a place so dear to my heart. The manager and the guys that run it are like massive vinyl DJs, world famous vinyl lovers, world famous vinyl DJs, running it and opening the space there for DJs, vinyl and digital DJs to go and express themselves. Yeah, and I'd always wanted to play there. It's a place I've seen the Cafe Del Mar CDs, I've had them in my life at some point. I've had Cafe Del Mar vinyl. The Cafe Del Mar series of Sunset CDs is possibly one of the most famous selections in the entire world, especially if you've visited the island. If you've been to Cafe Del Mar and experienced it, you'll buy your CD. And even if you've not, Cafe Del Mar now is a globally recognised brand because of what it established and because of the different experience it gave to people. Creating something by taking nature, the sunset, taking the venue around it and the beautiful natural surroundings of the sea and the rocks, and combining it with natural vibrations from people, our own voices and our own instruments, which at the time were acoustic. So these aren't digital instruments, these aren't plug in and play computers. This is something that people have learned to play over time and time and time. The voices have been enhanced. These talents and skills we can't really recreate on digital anymore. And when you couple nature with our own spiritual skills and talents, then it gives just such a beautiful experience that people connect with, and they take away a CD, they take away a memory, they tell their friends about it, their friends want to come and experience it. And this is how the vibration passing on works in that respect, and that's what's brought Cafe Del Mar to be such a big venue on the island, such a well-known established venue across the entire world. They've now got a Cafe Del Mar in Dubai, and one other location, I think, where the DJs from Cafe Del Mar here, Ken Fan, is going out there, taking the brand and hosting Cafe Del Mar Ibiza style events over there. It's what the public are wanting Ibiza in different parts of the world now.
I wonder if they have the sunset in Dubai, you know, like some fake sea and the sunset.
They might do. They've definitely got sun in Dubai. They've definitely got sun and sea in Dubai. But yeah, it's Cafe Del Mar for the Ibiza Vinyl Club and myself was a massive, massive gift. It was right in the middle of summer, August 2016. I'd just done a big event at an Ibiza Rocks venue in Cala de Boo on a new sunset terrace, and the event or two after that was to be the Cafe Del Mar gig, and it's more than dreams can pay for. From my own personal background as a vinyl DJ, I've grown up in the UK teaching myself to DJ. I never really DJ much in clubs or anything like that. I've always been freelance, doing on the party scenes. I've done weddings, I've done corporate gigs, done my own thing, and always just wanted to come over here and play vinyl. And to be able to come over here and play vinyl, to set the vinyl club up, and then to walk into Cafe Del Mar and ask them for a gig and they say yeah, thank you. It's just blessings, just blessings.
Did you know that the guy who made the interior for original Cafe Del Mar also made interior for Asparagus?
No, I didn't know that. Thank you.
Have you ever played in Asparagus?
No, I haven't. I've got friends that have played in Asparagus, and there might be an opportunity next year. I'm DJing with Strictly Old School in 2017. Playing old school vinyl, so music from the late 80s, early 90s, maybe from 87, 88, 89 to 91, 92. The old rave culture, which again was another another expression of our own creativity for an opening of the mind, the consciousness. The lyrics that they put in the music that I play from that era is all about living your dreams, about connecting with your soul, about doing what you believe in. It's big, high-end, hands in the air, feel-good factor dance vibes, which elevate your soul. And that was another thing at the time when we were speaking earlier about the evolution of music and how Ibiza came to be what it was, 1984, 85, 86. The rave scene started the late 80s, which is when DJing really took off, especially vinyl DJing all over the UK. There was underground parties going on, there were raves in caves going on across the island. At the same time, these massive super clubs were being built and they were playing music on vinyl in there, all this type of music. Esfera Paradise is one of the most beautiful clubs on the island, and it's one of the most authentic clubs on the island as well. It's not changed for however long it's been here. It's marble interior, it's absolutely beautiful. And now you mention it, I can see the similarities in between that and the interior of Café Del Mar, yeah.
So have you been to SOS in Paradise?
Yeah, I was there last year. Yeah, this summer.
How was it?
It was amazing. It was amazing. It went off. All the old school DJs were playing Mark XTC, Slipmart. We had a whole range of people playing the old school classics. All the aging clubbers, the aging ravers, people that remembered those times were there, hands in the air, foam everywhere. There was smoke machines. There's the progression of the event itself, coupled with the old school DJs and the old school music. And our new conscious way of partying, new knowledge of partying and connections was totally amazing.
How come that you got to play with SOS?
How do I get to play with SOS? Let me think. My journey with SOS has been 3 years in the making. I got to play with them this year in a couple of bars in Ibiza when they hosted a very short weekender. I know the guys that run SOS, Will and Lisa, pretty well from my time being over here. And 2 years ago, I brought my records down to Kenya but didn't get a set. A year ago, I brought my records somewhere else but it never materialised. And then this year, I was like, I'm not doing it, I'm not doing it, I'm not doing it. It's failed twice. If I'm doing it, I'm coming down, I'm bringing my own decks and I'm playing at this point to make sure it happens. And they just went, all right. So we arranged the gig, we played in Ithaca. Which is a bar in San Antonio. Upstairs, we took over the upstairs for it. I played the opening set for 2 hours, playing... You was there? You was, yeah. It was a good day, huh? I was playing music at that point from a little bit later, 95, 96. I was playing sort of UK garage and house music, coupled with some more authentic tunes from a little bit earlier on in the 90s. But again, on vinyl. And when the old school population, the people who are my peers, I used to look up to when they were clubbing, the old school DJs, see me playing on vinyl, they're like, wow, even, for example, Mark XTC and Slipmart bring USBs and play on CDJs. And this, when I was speaking to Slipmart, he was the one who was like, I really love what you're playing. I can't believe you've got all this vinyl over here. You must come and play for us next year. And the next thing I know about it was 2 weeks ago when I got a flyer posted on my wall, pt2, my name on the new 2018 SOS poster with Slipmart, with Mark XTC, with Fades, all the other DJs that I've looked up to and have been such a big part of the dance culture, and my little name there. I knew nothing about it, so like, boop, it's another Ibiza gift. Yes, thank you.
What about Eden?
Eden is an amazing club. The sound system in Eden is one to be competed with across the island. I think they use Void sound system. And Eden, my own experience of Eden has been really beautiful. In 2007, when I was a worker over here, it was the after party. I used to work on these streets giving out tickets for Manumission, encouraging people to come to the parties and the bar that I was working at, to the Manumission parties. But if I wasn't going out clubbing afterwards, it would always be Eden. The workers over here get free passes to the clubs, so it would always be Eden because I used to go clubbing there, work there and live over here. It was walking distance. It was a dream come true. Eden's evolved itself many times over the years. I used to spend a lot of time in the back room back then. I've not been often very recently because my time in the big clubs itself in the past 3 or 4 years is very limited. In fact, I think I've been to Pasha 3 times this year, and that's probably about it. I haven't yet experienced what High's like, which used to be Space. I went to Privilege once this year and Amnesia once or twice this year, because I was friends with the DJs, or my friends were in the performance for one of the events that was on at Privilege. My life now is different. I have different ways of finding more music on the island. I'm much more about acoustic vibes, so I like the underground parties more, the stuff that goes on off radar, where it's very much more geared around live music, around connection with your soul, connection with people. It's not necessarily spiritual. It might be reggae influenced, or it might be a drumming circle in Benaras Beach. But these type of things are what is calling me now, and what's attracting me to spend my free time, more so than the big clubs. But to go back to Eden, yeah, it's a massive, brilliant club, excellent sound system. I remember glass ceilings, wall to floor. I was there for a night this summer, Audio Rehab, a London brand had come over, and I went in there and the DJs were playing some music that I'd never heard before. They had people in from all over the world, and the DJ booth's quite far up, quite high up, people were raving and dancing. A real proper clubbing experience. It's kind of a mix between the old school and the new school. It's quite dark, it's quite an underground feel club, but it's dressed up really beautifully. The laser shows, the light choreography that they have in there is really beautiful. It's always spotless. They have chrome barriers all the way around, lots of mirrors, and lots of lights on the floor to make it look like a space age retro club. It's cool.
So how did Eden evolve from the time that you started going to like now?
Well, that's a really difficult question for me to answer, because I've not been going to all the time. From, if I remember going in 2007, 2008, oh, I need to do some thinking about this. The structure of the club itself hasn't really evolved that much. They've had refurbs, they've changed it around a bit, they've expanded, they've made more sense of the space that they've got, and maybe updated the venue itself. But as far as the layout is, the DJ box is still in the same place in the main room. The main room is still kind of split into two. It's still got the upstairs balcony, which it's always had. The back room's a little bit different now. It's more small and there's a different access point to it. But the main thing about Eden is the brands that it captures, the imagination it captures for people to come here. It's a kind of very UK orientated club, because it's in San Antonio, and this is where the majority of the tourists from the UK come to visit, is in San Antonio. So Eden has always been the biggest club here, to be able to offer the UK tourists something which they're familiar with. You go, if you're in the UK and you're going you're listening to the radio every day, going to work, you might listen to, I don't know, radio stations. What's the radio station called? Radio 1. It's a good radio station. I haven't got radio. Radio 1 have hosted Eden plenty of times. Radio 1 do a massive weekender over here, which is one of the most popular, most busy weekends that attracts people to the island, which is probably one of the reasons that we have over 1 million tourists coming through the airport in August. It comes on at the height of the season. They do parties all over. They've done parties on beaches, they've done parties in space, Ushuaia, they do parties in Eden. Because it's Radio 1, it's the biggest radio station in the UK, it's the most listened to radio station possibly in the entire world. So the familiarity of putting a brand which the English tourists are familiar with into a club which is across the road attracts them to go there. So that's kind of always been the relationship that I've understood Eden to have with the island and with the tourists. It's there mainly for the English tourists because of the English brands that have been coming through. But that's not to say that it's only English bands. This year, 2017, one of the most popular nights on the island was Defected. It Defected up until last year has been hosted at, where's Defected been? I think it's been at Space, it's definitely been at Pasha last year, and then it came to San Antonio this year, and it was the biggest night in Eden. It would put San Antonio back on the map. So 2018, thanks to Eden collaborating with Defected and other brands that have come through as well, has recreated a vibe about San Antonio, which is just going to escalate. There's now rumours that the Space brand is going to open up in San Antonio as well. This is something else that we're kind of just waiting to hear. There's also rumours that the Matutes family, who own the Ushuaia group, which is the very expensive club which overtook the venue that Space was in Playa d'Embosa, are looking to build a club over here as well. So San Antonio is very much on the mark. It's very, very different as well to what the media has portrayed it as. It's not just for the West End. The West End is one tiny, tiny, tiny little element of San Antonio, and it's an even smaller element of Ibiza. But for some reason, every program that's gone before seemed to focus on it, on the Brits abroad, people getting pissed up, people getting into fights, people being leery, whatever it is. And this is not Ibiza. This is one small percentage of Ibiza. And you know what? This is also a small percentage of every other single place in the entire world that's commercially orientated. How the media have portrayed Ibiza in the past is wrong. It's that simple. It's not about the West End. There is far much more to it. There's far, far much more to it. That will take you on a journey with this series of documentaries that we're going to put out and show you the underground side of Ibiza. We'll take you to the clubs, we'll take you to the parties where people are playing live music, the parties that hippies go to. You can come to the spiritual events. We'll take you up and down the mountains if you want to. We'll take you out on a boat cruise, not a boat party, around the island to find the caves that the pirates used to hide in when they were going to attack the boats that came in. There's so much history in the island, there's so much beauty, there's so much depth into it, that what the media have portrayed so far is kind of a massive fraud, and it does the island a huge, huge injustice. When I saw the Ibiza Uncovered documentaries as a teenager, it was one of the things that attracted me to the island. I saw that nightlife and I'm like, oh right, yeah, I'm feeling this. I feel a little part of me wants to go and experience this, and a little part of me did. That little part of me opened up a bigger door to lead the rest of my life, to base my life here, so that I didn't have to keep coming here on holiday, so I could use this as my home and then go on holiday and see the rest of the world. And this is what, that wasn't necessarily a bad thing. Nothing's a bad thing. So the evolution that we've had of the television programs and the mind and the perspective of Ibiza has only been beneficial in a way, but it's not the truth. The truth is about to be revealed. The truth is much more deep. The truth is that Ibiza is a magical place which encourages millions and millions and millions of people to come and spend their hard-earned money here every single year. And people repeat visit, coming here year on year on year. I have friends that have been visiting Ibiza for longer than me, my childhood friends. I remember used to go to Portanax in the north of the island, and this is before I even knew Ibiza existed. When I was 9 or 10 years old, they were telling me that they were going to Ibiza, and they continue to go. And now my friends have grown up, they don't come anymore, but their mum and dad still go to Portanax. They still come to the same holiday. I still connect with them when they come over here. It holds something very dear to everybody's heart. And if Ibiza was only about the West End and the pissed up Brits abroad, why would people be spending billions and billions and billions of pounds over our entire lives on financing the island? Because that type of scenario isn't for everyone. So it must mean that there's something else going on that people are connecting with, that people are finding on the island that are attracting them to it. Perhaps everyone's having similar connection and connective experiences where they're getting something beautiful and something really positive out of life. They're having an experience they never could have believed was possible, or they're being given a gift that they don't know where it comes from. It's like magic from above. It's like Christmas every day in Ibiza sometimes. But it's Christmas very soon.
One moment, I'll just check. I hope this. Perfect. Man, I would kill myself. The thing you mentioned, you worked for a man mission.
Yeah, that was fucking cool.
How did it? First of all, how did it happen?
Very simple. Manumission was one of the first clubs that I fell in love with when I came over here, and it wasn't a club, it's actually an event which was hosted in Privilege. And when Manumission started, it was actually revolved around a live sex show in the middle of an 8,000 capacity club. A couple from Manchester, Mike and Claire, had this concept about hosting a live erotic show in the middle of a dance floor, in the middle of a super club, and they started doing it. I can't remember when it was, must have been early 90s. By the time I got into or found Manumission, it had evolved and it was more of a risque theatrical performance. So there wasn't any full-on sex contact. There was nudity and sexuality, but that's just part of life anyway, as sex is part of life. People dissuaded by sex. People don't like to talk about sex, but it's one of the most natural things that we do. It's creative. It created us. Every single person on the island has been created for an act of sex in one way or another. It's that simple, but why we don't talk about it? Because the media don't allow us to talk about it. The media shelters us from all this. It gives us constraints and constrictions and control mechanisms to think that it's bad to talk about, but it's not. Going back to Manumission, the evolution of that was that they started to put on these massive theatrical performances. And when I started to come and see this is what captured my imagination more than anything, because it gave the party something different. I was coming over here for the partying, for the drugs, for the booze, for the girls, for the sun. But then you could go to Manumission, and then you've got all this on top of it, where you've got maybe 100 performers all dressed in scantily clad leather, really cool, boys and girls interacting with one another. Suddenly the music would stop and a spotlight would come on onto some actors up in the top corner who would portray a scene of love or of fantasy, and then carry on, and then the music would carry on and take the rest of the audience on a magical journey all the way through the event. This evolved into my reality. Because I loved it so much, I came to Ibiza for my first season in 2007, wanting to work here, not knowing what I was going to do, but with a history in sales and customer service in the UK. Got the boat party job with Subsonic, which turned into the Zoo project, but that only lasted for a few weeks because selling tickets to people for a kind of illegal underground party at the time wasn't my cup of tea, and I was more of I was looking for something more established. That was a very early season as well. Manumission only opened up maybe June. So when June came around and Manumission started to recruit, then obviously I just went to the recruitment day. At that point they saw something in me, and I was the first person that the Manumission team at that point recruited. And I had my interview, I told them who I was or what I was about, how much I thought about the brand, what I could bring to the project. And that very same night I was in the West End in a bar, and the two guys that were doing the recruitment, Tim and Ian, literally left the recruitment to come and find me to make sure that they contracted me before anyone else. Wow, thank you, another gift. I was 28 at the time, so I'd had a lot more experience than a lot of people. I was hanging around with kids that were 19, 20 years old. They were doing gap years from university, or they'd finished college and wanted to come out here, but my own personal situation meant that my first season here was in 2008, and it was perfect because as a 28-year-old I had so much more world knowledge, I had so much more about myself, which enabled me to get this job that I'd never really dreamed of, but had always been a dream, to work with this brand that had been in my life for so long and been such a massive influence to me. I was selling tickets again for the Manumission events, but also for Bar M, which was the Manumission Bar, which has now become the Ibiza Rocks Bar in the Bay of San Antonio, just over there. So I was hosting the nights in the Ibiza Rocks Bar. It was the first time that we started the reintroduction of live music on the commercial scale to the people of Ibiza. So we would have bands like the Kaiser Chiefs, Kasabian would come out and play, and this is who I'd be talking to the general public about, buying tickets to come and see live music in Ibiza. Again, it's the reinvention of music, it's the connection that I spoke about earlier, the connection of trying to find something more original, trying to go back to the roots and trying to see the expression of creation and art in its most pure and most original form. In this form, it's electronic guitars, it's guitars plugged into amplifiers, it's drums, but it's still people using their own skills, their own soul, their own spirit to be creative and express their art, which gives other people, it gives the viewing public so much inspiration and so much adoration that they want to go and do it again, or they take something away with it, they buy the music, and it gives them a more elevated consciousness, a mind expansion.
Have you been to Flower Power, Pasha?
I have, yes. Flower Power in Pasha is again one of the most famous nights over here. Now, my experience of Flower Power, again, is totally different to everybody else's. As I mentioned, I come from a background of doing wedding parties, DJing at all different types of private events in the UK, weddings, bar mitzvahs, birthdays, corporate dues, New Year's Eve, Christmas parties, and my record selection has been chosen over the period of my 15 years of DJing, a lot of it to suit what's been played or what the requests were at these parties. So it's very popular tunes, usually from the 70s and the 80s. So Flower Power at Pasha is a 70s orientated party where people dress up as hippies, and the music that's in there is music from the 70s and the 80s. So because it's so different to all the other clubs on the island, the vast majority of the people that come here absolutely love it because of the authenticity of it, because it's in Pasha. It's the oldest club on the island. It was the first club on the island. It's the club on the island that most people associate Ibiza with. It's now one of the most famous clubs in the entire world. They must have 50 different Pashas across the entire planet, as well as being the first place in the world to invent or to present the back-to-back DJ set, like I explained. Flower Power, for the vast majority of people that I speak to, is one of the best nights, but for me, it's like a busman's holiday. Having played this music and listened to this music for the past 20 years in the UK and all my life growing up on TV, it's just the same stuff over and over again, where I've been playing the 80s disco, the 70s soul, the 80s, 90s funk. This is what is being heard there, but this is what I'm playing. So for me to go to this, and it's kind of commercial as well, so you might hear the Pointer Sisters, you might hear Led Zeppelin, you might hear the Bee Gees, you might hear I don't know, lots more artists from that genre, from those years. But I've been playing them, and I'm not bored of playing them, but I'm certainly bored of paying to go and listen to them. So for me, the Flower Power, the concept of it is amazing. The art behind it is great. The performances that they put on, the dancers, the engagement that they have in the actual event itself, the way that they turn Pasha around, the live musicians that they have are all brilliant. But the music for me personally is something which I am so accustomed to that I would rather go somewhere else on a Monday night and on the Monday night is usually my Ibiza Vinyl Club night. So I've usually not been able to go anyway, fortunately, or unfortunately.
Euro is probably obviously a very big thing right now.
Yeah.
How much do you know about it?
Not a lot. Elro is a party that I've yet to go to. Elro started about 3 or 4 years ago and immediately took off. It's a party which gives people something different than just a party. A lot of people come to a party in Ibiza, get into the club, and then you've got music, wall-to-wall people. And that's a lot of the time what a lot of the partying has been about, which has given way to the drugs culture, which is not just here in Ibiza, but the drugs culture is everywhere. The recreational drugs, acid, mushrooms, pills, MDMA, coke. It's not just in Ibiza. It's not a problem, it's just a natural evolution of mankind. And if we control it right, and we can look at it from a different perspective rather than making it illegal, if we were to consider the illegal drugs that we've got could be regulated, and we could make it far safer for people to enjoy themselves recreationally, which actually gives them an expansion of the mind and something different to think about than their everyday lives, it would be a totally different world.
Yeah, I think maybe just like with the books, back in the day a lot of books were like burned and hid from people because they were expanding their minds different ways. These days all books are accessible. And I think, but books are not that dangerous anymore. And I think drugs are now in exactly the same position as books used to be.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, my drug days are well over. I've not done any Class A's for many years now. I even stopped drinking. I've cleaned up my life, and I'm trying to live as my body tells me to, which it doesn't agree with me anymore. I've just outgrown it. It was part of my natural evolution. But yeah, one of the scary things about the drugs scene at the moment is the amount of legal drugs that we're creating. And the reason that it's given the term legal is because they've been created so fast to give the people, the users, a high which elevates their mind or takes their mind to a different space or a different dimension. They're being created so fast that the governments aren't getting the opportunity to make them illegal. That's the only reason. It's not that they're allowed, it's that the governments can't catch up. So if you look at things like MCAT HCP5 has now been legalised. You can now buy that over the counter, but that was a legal drug over here which people used to come down from doing loads of coke. It's now a sedative that you can get over the counter. MCAT was something which was developed from weed killer, I think. You've got GHB, which was again developed from weed killer. It's like a little cap that you neck and take it, but it really fucks your head up. It really takes your head to a different place. So what we've created with the entire drug scene across the entire world is man-made, and because we've illegalized it, we've actually created a completely different society than we could have had by understanding that these could be here to help us, or that they're not, rather than being illegal, we should monitor them, and the government should be making them for people, or we should be at least opening the door for the creation of these drugs or these substances on a much more open playing field. So it's not done underground. So you don't have your experiences and stuff going on like Breaking Bad. Like that type of stuff goes on because it's illegal. If making crystal meth was regulated and it was made by the government and it was tested before given to the public and it was legalized, it would be a completely different kettle of fish. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but we jumped away from El
We did, yeah. Sorry, Elro. Elro gives people a different experience of a party. I've not been myself, but what I know of it is that it's all about the show. So again, like we spoke about Manumission, giving people something else to look at or something else to engage with. Like with the vinyl club, I take the vinyl there, it gives the people something different to engage with at the party. It gives them something to talk about, it gives them something to hold, something to touch, something to engage with. At El Row, you've got a lot of stuff going on all the time. It's all about the production. It's big colours, it's big noises, it's big inflatables, it's lots of fun, it's acting like a child again. They host pop-up parties in different venues that I've been to, and it's all about just being a kid. Again, regressing your life back to how you used to play around, what you used to do. It's like an adult's playground, and that's all discotheques are. It's an adult's playground. That's how we spend our money, so how we spend our free time. If we were kids, we want to go to the playground or go to the park, but as adults, we want something more mature than that, and a lot of the time it happens to be a discotheque.
Very good way to look at it.
Thanks. Just my perspective.
Also, I don't know, we really did a mistake. I don't know if we did a mistake, but there is this community, and we called it hippie community, and we got shit for that.
Which community did you call the hippie community?
The community that we went to.
It wasn't a hippie community. We thought we wanted to be a hippie community, and like Trace like, no, it ain't a hippie community, but there's no big power gather, we do the drumming, we do all that. So yeah, we were talking, that's what we need to talk to Trace about, wasn't it?
Oh,
Do you know Trace?
I do know Trace. Trace brought some fancy dress off me at the market 2 weeks ago. Yeah. I know Trace pretty well. Yeah, I've been up to Ibango a few times. I've been play a part of the drumming circle. What he's created up there is awesome. I believe the building that he's got was originally built to be a children's hospital in the mid-80s, but due to something happening on site in the production of it, the completion of the hospital never actually got finished. So it was a half-built hospital, which has been handed over from different owners from time to time, but it's ended up in Trace's hands. Trace Harris used to run a party over here in one of the very first parties over here called Smarty Party. It was a UK brand that he brought to Ibiza, started hosting Smarty parties over here. I don't know what his history of the island is because I've only just started to get to know him. But what he's created up in Ibango, which is what he's called the place, is a community or a network of people, drummers, musicians that go there on a Tuesday evening throughout the summer and through the winter as well, just to jam and just to get the drumming going and just to express themselves in a free community where are full of like-minded people. It's just another playground for us. In Ibango they have unlimited amounts of different musical instruments. They have hang drums, normal djembe drums, all different types of percussion. People turn up with keyboards, you have vocalists, bass guitarists, harmonica players. I sit there and play cymbals sometimes, or clap my hands, or make some weird noises. It's very interesting when you say you defined it as a hippie community, because define hippie. What is a hippie?
It's just like, we are trying to put labels to things, so we at least I understand this at least a little bit, because it's a fucking weird thing. Like what you guys do, it's hard to put into words.
Yeah.
That's why when throw a label, so like that's confined.
Yeah, that's it. I totally agree. I don't believe in labels or labeling myself as something at all, because I believe that labels are limits. And when I say, for example,
But tradition, I think there is a lot of value in tradition. know, when you, like for example, when I was growing up, like to be a musician sounded like to becoming some greater being. It was like an ideal to strive for. It wasn't a label that I'm a musician, I play music. I want to be that, you know, fucking shaman, you know.
Yeah.
Like real musicians, the way I see them, they are today's shamans. You know, they take sound and they put people's mind in a different place. You know, that's shamanism.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, my belief is that we're all shamans. We're just remembering our connection to Mother Earth and our abilities to be able to give people a journey into a different dimension. So DJs are shamans, the producers of the music are shamans, the musicians that we speak about are shamans as well, but also so are the people that give us natural remedies, so are the people that just use their voice, so are the people that open up a circle for someone to talk and express themselves with. We've all got our own natural healing instincts within us. I thoroughly believe this, and that for me is what shamanism is all about. Yeah, and when we see someone, when we are given an opportunity to look at a musician or to take advice, not advice, to take inspiration from someone, that's the shamanism at work. We can take advice from anyone on the planet or anything on the planet, but being given someone specific to look up to or someone specific to hold aloft and want to emulate is one of the most natural things of our entire existence, which is why we've got the society that we've got today, where people see Michael Jackson on the TV and want to dance like him, so you become Justin Timberlake. You see Justin Timberlake on the TV, so you want to dance like him, you become Justin Bieber. You know, it's a natural progression all down like that. Those are examples. You might pull your face, but it's just a different example of different people's shamans.
But you know, there is a way to elevate the consciousness and to know what they mean. Like you can do that with music, and very, very easy. And I think that's exactly what's going on in the big industry. They're not elevating people. They're doing the exactly opposite. They're pushing them. They're watering the music down. They're watering the people down.
All right, you want to talk about this then, do you? Yes. Okay. Yeah. Right. I'm going to roll my sleeves up for this one.
I can speak a little bit.
Can I speak up a little bit? Okay.
Clap 3 times.
Take 2.
How much history do you know about the Ibiza town, the actual town?
The old villa, it's beautiful. It's really nice. It was built by the Romans.
Or the castle?
Yeah, that's the castle is called Dol Villa. It means the old town, or the old villa, however you want to phrase it, whichever language you come from. But yeah, it was built as the capital of the island by the Romans when they landed in 200 BC, and it's still there to this day. It's full of beautiful little nooks and crannies. It's one of the most sought after venues to live and to party on the island as well. It's still very, very sympathetic to how it was built back in the days. There's very small houses all around the big castle, which is on top of a hill. And the castle's now been turned into a Juntamento hosted event space. So there's a museum up there. They hold festivals up there with world famous DJs and artists. And you can walk around it and get lost in it. It's cobbled streets, and they hold medieval festivals there, Christmas festivals. It's one of the most famous focal points of the entire island. You see it as you're coming in from all the boats. Marina Botafoc is also one of the most expensive sought after places on the island. Gracias, amigo. And that's where the ships moor. So all the people that have got the money to own a boat or to own a yacht or a super yacht or a luxury or a small one, or the people that come in on a cruise liner or that come in from different parts of the world, all dock in Botafoc, which is on the other side to where the old villa is. So the old villa, Dock Villa, is literally one of the first things people see as they come into Ibiza. It's one of the most synonymous landmarks, and one of the landmarks that hasn't changed over its entire history. It's stayed as it is. There's not a lot of building that goes on in and around there. So I've got friends that live in and around the old villa in the old town of Ibiza, and the apartments, the studios are beautiful, like solid granite floors, old rickety doorways. It's like living in the past. It's amazing. Can we do the 432 that you asked me about first? You asked me about creating music before you went nipped off for a break. You were talking about.
I thought that's not very related. Like about like how they. No, that part of the that touches like a subject which is too big. Like I mean, like the whole industry of the music and how it affects. We're trying to like focus more on what's going on in this island. Like,
Yeah. Okay. Go for it.
What part Ibiza Rocks plays in
It plays a massive part. Ibiza Rocks is one of the brands which is known across the world for hosting live music. It's been around since 2008, I think, when Bar M turned into the Ibiza Rocks bar, which was after my first season. Manumission left the island and took Bar M with it, and Ibiza Rocks were already doing things in conjunction with Bar M, Bar Manumission at the time, and they took over the venue and started hosting their own live performances. So bringing famous artists and famous bands from UK popular culture to the island and giving the tourists here something again that they're familiar with but out in Ibiza. Giving them live performances that they can go and see the heroes that they're buying the CDs of that are topping the charts in the UK or whichever country they live in, to be able to come and see them it started off as a limited capacity venue. We could only fit 200 people in, so every event that we had on there was like a private gig. It was intimate, it was close, you was close to your heroes. I worked on the security once or twice, and it was literally there's a barrier, the paying public, me, and then the stage full of stars. So LCD sound system, Kasabian were here, loads of people. Paolo Nutini, I think, pretty sure played here. I can't think of anyone off the top of my head at the moment, but Ibiza Rocks itself has progressed now. It's now a massive international renowned brand. It has its own hotel. So that, as well as doing the events, the smaller events in their bar, they have an outdoor swimming pool inside a hotel complex, which they've got a festival stage in the middle of. And every day through the summer, they host live music or live DJ events inside the hotel complex, bringing the people that are now in the charts in the UK and in the States that are making the big hits, that are inspiring people to want to buy music or to dance, bringing them to Ibiza and giving them something, giving the paying public something else, a different experience to go. They have Ibiza Rocks Hostel, Ibiza Rocks Hotel, Ibiza Rocks Bar. They also have a say, I don't know how big it is, in Pike's Hotel, which is a really nice hotel which has been around for many years, just on the outskirts of San Antonio. I think they own a percentage of it, I'm not quite sure. But they also used to do a night in Pasha called the Ibiza Rocks House, which had an after party at Pikes, the hotel. So it's kind of, the Ibiza Rocks is getting everywhere. It's not just about rock music, it's about music and about expression of creativity and love and beautiful vibrations on the island, which attracts tourists from all over the world to come and get involved. It's a really colourful, cheeky, outgoing brand which a lot of people connect with. Their target audience, I think, is up to mid-30s, I would imagine, but because of the wide variety of people that the musicians that they have, the bands that they have, it appeals to a wide variety of people. I've been to gigs in the Ibiza Rocks where there've been grandmas and granddads there, older people than me.
Do you know Anthony Pike personally?
No, I've met him once or twice. He's told me a couple of stories, but I don't know him to sit down with.
How much do you know about the guy? Who is Tony Pike?
I don't know a lot about him. The stories that he's told me I've forgotten. But he's, as far as I remember, he's the creator of Pikes, the Pikes Hotel. Pikes Hotel has been, it's one of the most original hotels on the island. It's been around since, I don't know when, it must be the 70s. My personal experience with Pikes, I DJ'd there with the Vinyl Club last year with a mate of mine, Luca. We played in the ball pool room, which played on vinyl with balls flying everywhere. It was a real experience. But I also have memories of it from my own upbringing in the UK. I still am a massive Wham fan. I used to love the band Wham. I've got a really big, beautiful collection, and one of my favourite records is Club Tropicana, which was filmed in Pikes. So we had the boys from Wham prancing around in shorts in the pool in Pikes, which was filmed there. Pikes from that moment on, or even way before that, was kind of a hot spot for the rich and the famous to go to. Freddie Mercury used to spend a lot of time there. He's got his own room, Freddie's. They have an event there every year, Freddie's Night, or Freddie's Day, I can't remember what it is, where everyone goes dressed as Freddie Mercury. It's renowned as one of the most debaucherous places on the island, where the rich and the famous could go to truly let their hair down. I've heard stories about the parties that used to go on in Pikes, about Queen used to have parties in Pikes, the rock band Queen, when Freddie Mercury was there, and they had dwarfs carrying trays of mountains of cocaine around for people, offering them lines of coke, all sorts of random parties going on. I wasn't part of it, so it's all hearsay. It might have happened, it might not, I don't know. But this must have all been instigated by Tony Pikes, because it's his place.
Yeah, it's not charging. It's not charging. It was a minute ago. I think it's on my phone.
Just for the record, you're exactly right. We've been recording music all wrong since the digital revolution. We've been recording music all wrong since the digital revolution. Music is one of the most healing things that we have. It's very shamanic. Even if you look at people's lyrics in music, it's about pain, it's about love, something that everyone that understands the lyrics can connect with. And when we have these connections, it releases vibrations, it releases memories, it gives us good times, it gives us happy times. We have now realised that we've been recording music wrong. Basically, there's a school of thought that believes in 432, the 432 hertz, the magical numbers of the universe, the frequencies of the world. 432 hertz is the vibration of love. And when we were given these instructions by whoever it was, magically way back in our time, when you can look at the different patterns that we've got in nature, and it all boils down to a 432, or the sacred geometry that we've got. You look at flowers, you look at the patterns that we put in our lives that we've got that are natural. You can put a figure onto it, you can put numbers into it, a numerical formula into it. Everything can boil down to 432. Pythagoras, the Egyptian mathematician, developed a way that he would tune his music to the 432 hertz, So they're replicating these vibrations that Gaia, Mother Earth, gives to us ourselves, that we're all capable of in our own voices. So we've all got healing abilities in our own voices, which leads back to shamanism. But since the digital revolution and our knowledge and expansion has created and changed, we've been retuning musical instruments and our voices to 430 or to 440. And it's not magical. If you look at the 432, then the way that the number 432 derives, it can be divided by anything. It's a very fascinating subject. But since we've had more knowledge, we've been recording music at different frequencies. So a lot of the music we've been recording, it should have been using the healing frequencies which have been provided to us by Mother Earth and our own knowledge through shamanism. But we've distorted it, and when we create music recorded at a different hertz value, at a different hertz level, then it distorts the music, so it becomes more of a control mechanism. So what we're seeing now in common club culture, especially when you look at places, I don't really want to name brands or DJs, but EDM is a massive example of how we are recording music wrong. We're making music in a box. There's no vibration about it. The love and the intention that goes into it gets compressed, and a lot of the tunes are tuned, a lot of the musical instruments are tuned to different frequencies. So we miss the 432, and if we miss the 432, we miss all the other magical frequencies which we know have been provided to us by the universe, which we've been using in many years gone by, which we get in our acoustic instruments, the didgeridoos, the santos, the harps, the cellos. All these instruments are usually tuned to 432 to give a much more beautiful audio experience. Digital revolution came along, and for convenience we started recording it a different way, so we miss all the healing frequencies and all the beautiful harmonies that we get when we recorded to, or use instruments recorded to 430. It doesn't sound the same, it lacks something. But this is what the mass media and the mass population are being fed. This is what goes on in the clubs where the EDM is played, where EDM is house music which has been sold back to the Americans. It's always been there, it's just a progression of that. But a lot of it is being recorded in this alternative way, which provides, it takes away the fact that it's healing. It takes away the fact that music is healing. So people want to spend more money on getting off the face more, or taking more drink, or more drugs, or whatever it might be, because the music isn't as satisfying as it should be. And that's where I think there is a little bit of competition in the acoustic world, the live music world, and the current popular way of producing dance music through computers. You can make a tune, you can make anything on a computer, but it's just someone sat in front of a computer, unless you use MIDI keyboards. In that case, it could be sat on someone in a MIDI keyboard in front of a computer. It could be 10 people on MIDI keyboards, but it's all stationary, doesn't move. It's all there, you're just in the studio doing it. Whereas when you record live and acoustic, like we used to do on the vinyl that I play, the music that I've got on vinyl has all been recorded on, a lot of it's been recorded on 432, and it's been recorded analog as well, which captures the actual essence. It captures the knowledge and the love and the intention and all the invisible forces and the frequencies that the artist put into it, because it's literally all goes into a microphone, which is transferred onto a tape, and then it's pressed onto a vinyl, and there's no compression of the file. In digital, you compress the files, you lose the top end, you lose the mid-range, you might not get the 432, so we're listening to music wrong. If you can go onto iTunes and you can choose what size MP3 file you want to buy, you can have a 320 KB file, you can have a 128, you can have a 28 kilobyte file if you want for in-ear headphone use. And I understand that it reduces the space, and it reduces the audio value and the danger, the potential of audio danger to your ear. But if you're playing something which has been recorded at a far greater frequency, and you condense it to a tiny little file which is only 28 kilobytes, then how much of the music are you losing? All of it. And what's the point of listening to it if you're losing all the music?
Talking about live music, Benarasi Beach.
Yeah, amazing. Again, I love the place. Benirras has been it's been synonymous with the hippie movement as long as it's been on the island, as long as hippies has been coming, as long as we've known about it. One of my very best friends in the UK, Gaz, he's a bit older than me. He came here in 1979 as a young hippie, a 21-year-old, and he went to Benirras Beach. And on the beach in Benirras, there were people when you speak about hippies, for me, a hippie is someone that's just living their life, is just free, and that just understands that we are all connected, that we are all one, and is more about love. That's all a hippie is for me. These hippies, these people on the beaches were drumming, and they were using drums with traditional skins on it, djembes, congos, all sorts of different instruments to recreate the tribal beat that we've become used to and accustomed to from our shamanic times. That when we first started drumming, when we were all African, and we first started to make the first beat, that we responded to and realized that there was an opening of consciousness and expansion of the mind and a journey to go somewhere because someone was drumming for an hour or two, just doing that. They recreate that. And on one corner of Benaras Beach, every Friday it is now, people come together, as many people as they want, just to drum. And it's just drumming circles, drumming circles, drumming circles, drumming circles. But the vibrations that are created and the beauty that goes through it and the different ways that the drumming journey goes, wow, it's fantastic. It's such a different experience. Yeah, I've played up at Benaras, yeah. Amazing to be part of something like that. For me, it just leaves me speechless. It's a beautiful experience. Everyone comes together, we're there for the same thing, and we're creating something from nothing. And because it's so traditional and so authentic and so tribal, then I totally believe that our spirits connect with it all. And people just get up and start dancing and start taking their clothes off and spinning around, running in the sea. There's a connection that people have with their souls, with their freedom, with their instinct that you don't get in normal clubs. You know, normal clubs are full of pretense, they're full of ego, they're full of, I can't dance like that with my hands in the air or close my eyes or spin around on my head because people are watching. What are they going to think? When you go to drumming circles and when you get involved with the more alternative hippie communities that are expressing these shamanic values, especially with the drums, especially with the more original and acoustic instruments that we're using, people are more free to be themselves, and there's less pretense, there's less thought around what other people are thinking. There's more connection, which has introduced or has been another introduction path to a new genre of music called ecstatic dance, which is now about dance music, which has been geared around people being completely free to dance however they want to dance. In ecstatic dance, we encourage people to dance like no one's watching, and it does take a certain level of consciousness of your own mind to be able to do that, because the society that we've created is so controlled and so boxed in about worrying what other people think of us that we don't do it. We all stand in techno clubs, bobbing around, giving it do-do-do. We might stand around in house clubs doing the exact same thing. But the more popular market has created this society where there might be 2,000 or 3,000 people that go to a club and you're all dancing the same. But now, wanting to go back to these original roots, using our original music, but with the advent of technology and introducing our new knowledge of technology, the 432 hertz that we now can recreate, we're creating music to go on a spiritual journey which takes you up and down. It releases emotions in your body, it finds vibrations that you used to have that you might not be aware of. It can take you to dark places, it can take you to tears, it can take you to complete ecstasy. It will allow you to roll around on the floor, it will allow you to scream like an animal, to tear your hair out, it will allow you to be a child and chase someone around the club or the venue. And this is one of our USPs at the Sioux Evolution Project. Every event that we have ends with an ecstatic dance of 2 hours or 3 hours, where it's a complete free-for-all. The DJ plays the best tunes that connects everyone, that's got vibrations in it from different walks of life that'll just listen. We'll hear a little bit of electro, you'll hear a little bit of techno, you'll hear some EDM in it, but you'll also hear some beautiful, authentic, angelic voices. You'll also hear some didgeridoo, you'll also hear a little bit of spoken word from Osho, for example, something which connects everyone and allows them to go on a journey. And the journey can be whatever you want it to be, because it's each individual journey for themselves, and the more you let yourself go, the more you can go on this ecstatic journey. If you ever get the chance to experience it, do it with your eyes closed. That's the best way to do it, because with your eyes closed, there's no one watching you. You can be exactly who you want to be with your eyes closed, and when your eyes are closed, it also stops you from concentrating on everybody else and allows you to be yourself, but it also allows you to be more clear and present about what you're saying. I talk more presently and more clearly with my eyes closed because I'm not concentrating on everything else. It's crazy. As males, we take 80% of our consciousness through our eyes because we are hunter-gatherers and we're always on alert looking for something. We've not developed from that since being Homo sapiens. We've still got that natural instinct, we're still very aware all the time, no matter what scenario we're in, of what's going on around us. 80% of our consciousness is like wondering. Well, I'm concentrating and talking to you now, I know what's going on. I know there's 3 people still over there in the corner that haven't moved. I know 3 or 4 couples have been in and eaten and gone out of here while I've been concentrating, because my eyes are taking it all in. But if you close your eyes, you can totally lose yourself. And when you couple that with beautiful original music and an ecstatic dance journey with complete freedom to do anything that you want, then it creates complete bliss. It's healing, it's the next generation.
What would you rate?
I love it.
Looks like we're all right over here.